Eric Church is one of country music's most against the grain performers. He launched his career with non-stop small venue touring instead of the typical Nashville radio hit. In 2019, he blew up the idea of the classic country tour by ditching opening acts and playing 3-hour gigs. He is country music's middle finger, and his fans love him for it. I'm Rolling Stone country editor Joseph Hudak, and for the Rolling Stone interview, I talked to Church about his new album Heart and Soul, social changes in country music, and why he thinks he'll be back on stage in the fall. How's quarantine going for you now? Like, where are you now mentally compared to last year at this time?
I miss playing, man. I mean, I think like everybody, at least specifically for me, I had a hard few years anyway, coming into this. So I think music for me and being on stage was a lot of therapy in a lot of ways, to be out there. So I think that's been the biggest thing I've missed is just, I've played music since I was, on stage somewhat professionally, getting paid since I was 19 or 20 years old. So I've been doing it longer than I've been doing something else. So it's been hard not to have those moments with the crowd.
Well, man, I'm so excited to talk to you. It's been
same here.
Hell of a long time, and this record has really revealed some gems and secrets to me. So I'm looking forward to diving into it. So what I want to start with, though, is let's go back to the Outsiders. The sound and the vibe of the Outsiders into Mr. Misunderstood could not have been more different. And I think that you found a new sound and a new style of songwriting, even a more focused songwriting, a more personal songwriting with Mr. Misunderstood. That was 2015. Yep. Heart and Soul taken as a whole, and let's talk about it as a whole right now.
It
feels like the natural evolution of that. So how does the Eric Church of Mr. Misunderstood compare to the one who wrote and recorded Heart and Soul?
Starting with your first part of your question there was Outsiders was a lot of bombast. I felt like Outsiders was the rebellion record that was trying to get away from the guy that had just made the Chief album and it had a lot of success and had been boxed in a lot of ways. I felt like Outsiders was the guy that the creativity run amok, where you have a person going, I do not want to be who you want me to be.
Yeah, right.
And then I think Mr. Misunderstood was the more organic return to the singer-songwriter part of that, the storytelling part of that. What's interesting to me is as we come into Heart and Soul, I'm still having a hard time talking about what I think Heart and Soul is, because I didn't find and set out to make Heart and Soul. I think a lot of artists and songwriters, they say, I'm going to go make this album. This is where I am at the time. This is what I'm going to do. That didn't happen here. This was the album made me. I didn't make the album. And every day I didn't know what that song was. I didn't know what was going to happen that night. I didn't know if we were going to strike out. And then the best part of it is when that was over with, I had to do it again the next day. And at the end of the next day, I couldn't remember what we did day one. I had no clue what the damn song was. So it was one of those wild things where we let whatever was going to happen. We didn't choke anything out. We put everybody in a room. I still remember there was one of the earliest songs we recorded. We brought up some guitar, a studio guy from Nashville, because I wanted things to be uncomfortable for my band.
Right.
Just to have some tension. Tension's great. And he sat down, and I had just written this song 3 hours before. And he said, well, do you think the guitar part goes like this? I said, Rob, I don't know what the fuck the guitar. I said, it's brand new. I said, I've not even heard a guitar part yet. What are you talking about? And he kind of laughed. He said, I forgot. Normally you've listened to songs 1,000 times and you have. I said, I have wherever it goes, it goes. Let's chase it and see what happens. So I think for the Heart and Soul, the writing part is the purest writing I've done, because it was unedited and nobody got to sit there and put it through a committee and go, well, how about a verse here? How about we do this here? I would say the same thing for Jay Joyce. There's nobody else to run it by. We're just in the room. What feels good, what sounds good. And I don't know that I've ever made a record that it was that same day that you go, this feels good. Is this right? Fuck, I don't know. Let's do it. And we would kind of go that route.
It's almost like a Rolling Stones Exile on Main Street template.
Yeah.
Right? Where you hold up, and for people who don't know, you took the band, you took Jay Joyce, your producer, you took an army of songwriters to North Carolina in January of 2020. Is that right? January 2020. And wrote and recorded a song a day, if not more than one a day, right?
Right. We at least did one a day. We wrote and recorded it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said, to go back to the Desperate Man album, which is the album that preceded this, you said that you felt too comfortable making Desperate Man.
Yep, I did.
What did you mean by that? And is that basically what prompted this, this North Carolinian exile?
Yep. Best way I would say it, from a Fat and Happy. I felt like we came off of an arena tour and, sold out shows. And we show up in the studio, and I don't know, everybody's kind of well, I guess we're going to make a record. We're going to do it again. There was no sense of urgency. There was no danger. I felt like the band was just kind of there. And I don't know, the whole thing to me it was nothing against, people get mad when I say this, because I love the Desperate Man album. Has nothing to do with what the end product was. I'm telling people what the process was. And the process was difficult to get to that point. We overcut more than we've ever overcut. I mean, we had 6 or 7 songs that just didn't make the album, or we'd strike out. I mean, the whole thing was a grind. The way most artists deal with that is you have to replace your producer. You start changing out your band members. You start changing everything to try to get that thing that we're trying to get back to. My idea, instead of doing that, was this North Carolina deal where I take Jay out of his element. I stick it in an element that's never had a studio in it. I take the band and I put them in a competitive situation with other people. And then for myself, I went there I had 4 or 5 song ideas coming into day one. And I exhausted them quickly. So when we got to like day 7, day 8, I didn't know what the next day was it got kind of manic, where I would sit there and go, fuck, what's tomorrow? What is tomorrow? What are we going to write tomorrow? What are we going to do? And I think that, I don't know, man, it just turned into the coolest thing. And I just, musically, I think 90% of it was, I was a fan. I mean, I was reacting to the moment. I didn't think about it. There was no thought. We just, that day we committed to that song. That was the day. And then it was over and you forgot about it. And the next day you committed to that song. And at the end of the process, when I listened back, I remember Jay going through one of the playbacks, and we were having a good time and drinking and going, God, I can't believe we did this. And he played, it was Heart of the Night. And he said, I'm going to play Heart of the Night. And I went, what's that? Like that. And he goes, Heart of the Night. I said, I don't know what that is. I said, what song is that? And he played it, and I was like, oh crap. Yeah, I remember that now. All those things. I didn't have a chance to get married to any of this. I had no opinions on this stuff. I was almost like a vessel that these things worked through. That's all I was. I was an open medium. Yeah. And I let these things just move through me. I didn't have passion and opinions about any of them.
It's funny you say that, because when you started releasing songs from this, right before the album was even announced, no one knew what you were doing. Is it an album? You were just, hidden out, hiding out in North Carolina writing these songs. And then you started slowly putting some out. And when I heard them, I was like, man, what is he doing? Are these like demos that he's not doing? And I don't mean that. And like, they just sounded so rootsy. They sounded like you really were just coming up with that. But when I listened to the album, and I'm going to keep saying the album, even though it's 3 components, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
When I listened to it as an album, it made sense to me. Everything flowed the way it did. Like when I heard Bad Mother Trucker the first time, I was like really excited for it, and it didn't hit me until I heard it in the context of the album. Right. I don't know what that is, because it's it's a 3 disc, a 3 LP record, right? Or I guess 5 LP when it comes down to it, right?
Yeah, I think that's interesting you say that, but you're right. I mean, and the reason it sounds that way, it's kind of like the like the band and Big Pink or whatever. It's made in a place that the record's never been made there. So it did have a sound. It does not sound like our other albums. It does not sound like what we've done before. The drum sounds are different. The guitar sounds are different. The vocals are different. It's all just different because we've never been in that environment. And I think that's what makes it have some unity when you keep calling it, one project. I get it, but it has unity in that way. The thing that made it 3 projects for me was the songs grouped together differently. You can't put out a 25 song album, and I could find a double album, but I couldn't find what you do then. I couldn't find where Ray-Bans went. Right. I couldn't figure out where Life with Me went. I couldn't figure out where Lone Wolf went. I'm still not sure where Lone Wolf goes. So it's that thing where I couldn't get those on Heart or Soul. Heart is interesting because what I love about the project is there's a ton of songs that have heart in them. And people, normally, here's what would happen. I would go through a songwriting panel about my group that I use. And they would go, well, we can only have one heart song. But I was writing every day. It was in my head. It was, maybe it's a car song or a freedom song. It was a daily deal. So you're getting what's in here real time. So that's why there's Heart on Fire, Heart of the Night, Never Break Heart. That's why you're getting that.
All on the album, yeah.
Yeah. So at the end, that's, I got asked a question earlier today, why Heart and Soul? And I said, well, as I listened back, I didn't have Heart and Soul. But as I listen back to trying to group these things, what are these? Heart's pretty, obvious. It jumps kind of right. And I said, okay, what if this is Heart and didn't have anything else? And that's kind of, once they started grouping up is when I truly saw the project. Before that, I love the recordings. I love what it was. I didn't know what it was though. I couldn't figure out if it, what is this? Is this 15 song album, which I hate doing. I think a listening experience should be condensed, and this is what it is, and it's meant to be done, and then you move to the next one. And I think that's where we came up with the 3 albums.
Were there any songs that you brought to the table already in your mind, fleshed out? I think Ray-Bans, Through My Ray-Bans, was one that I think you started that before you went to North Carolina to record. Is that right? Tell me a bit about that. That was kind of inspired by the Las Vegas shooting, right?
Yep.
Everybody's got their arms around. Everybody else is sure.
It was an older song that I hadn't totally reworked it, but it was in my head. And honestly, this is what's great about going into a process like that. That song happened on a day that the song that I tried to write didn't make it. Strike out. And I happened to be there. Luke Laird was one of the writers that I wrote that with. He was there that day. And the song that we had been trying to get to that session that night sucked. And we didn't get it there. It just wasn't right. It didn't meet the bar of the project. And as we were going into it, I said, well, man, screw it. Let me throw something at you. Let's go back and revisit Ray-Bans. And we started talking about it and reworked it and redid it and then cut it that night. So because we struck out on another song, that song kind of found its way. The song that I had coming in, because I wrote it by myself, was Heart on Fire, was the first song we recorded. And I wanted to get us off on a good foot. So I had most of that one coming into the project. And then from there, I had some pieces, or I had, a title here or there. And I cannot underestimate how important Casey Beathard was to this project. MVP of the whole deal for me, because he was coming off a real tragic time in his life. His son was killed, and he was able to come up there. And I believe there was a therapy element for all of us in the mountains. And I think Casey got a lot of therapy and just found some amazing things. He said to me probably halfway through, he said, I just want to thank you for restoring my faith in the reason I got into music. He said, we're getting to do what I've always wanted to do. This is what you dream of as a songwriter and as a musician. You get to see your creation come to life in real time while you're there. And I agree with that sentiment. I think that was what made this a special project.
There's a lot of heartland rock to this record, right? I mean, people hear some Mellencamp, all of these kind of sounds, these very rootsy sounds. But for me, Church, here's what I hear. I hear Meatloaf. I hear a rock opera in those first 3 songs on the Heart record.
Heart of the Night is rock opera. It's rock opera. It's
Russian Roulette is rock opera.
Russian. You know what gets me? It's so funny you say that. And Joe, this is why you piss me off sometimes. That's a great that I said on there's a part on Heart of the Night where it goes, "It's still beating heart of the night," and it's the hits. And Jay goes, "We can't do all those hits." I said, "Dude, it's Meatloaf. Let's do it." And I said into the mic, and it's over dramatic, it's over passionate, it's those things. But man, and there's also a little Neil Diamond in there. There's a little bit of Ellie is fine. There's some Neil Diamond going on.
I love
it.
But
you're dead right. You're dead right. It was over the top in places, but it never felt wrong. And I think that's the thing. That's all I'll say is if we analyze it and we took Heart of the Night and we brought it back and put it through the normal channels, we would have got to the end and said, let's cut Heart on Fire. That's what made this different. Is we didn't do that. This is what we wrote today. And this is, I think, let's commit ourselves to this. Let's have fun with this. And let's do it. And I don't know, I've never made an album that way. I knew going in on every one of my albums that the song we were bringing to the board that night was a damn good song. And it had been looked at and it was better than the 9 other ones I had. I did not know that this time. And so I think in a way, you commit a little bit harder to the defense of that song. You want it to be, you go harder at the vocal. You go harder at the guitar. And what I loved is after a couple of days, the band joined right in. I mean, we had a true army there. A few days in, they were, they knew what we were trying to do and they understood the specialness of it and the uniqueness of it. And then they committed to it.
I'm going to linger on Russian Roulette for 1 minute because that bridge, man, when you go into the falsetto and and then there's a lyrical illusion, which is the flip side of your song Springsteen, where you say, I need a melody without a memory.
Funny how a melody sounds like a memory.
Yeah.
So you're trying to break that bond, the mental bond between the music and the melody. But that bridge is when it hit me with the Meatloaf stuff, particularly there. I thought I was letting myself thinking it in Heart of the Night, but when it got to Russian Roulette, and then I started thinking Joanna Cotton, she's your Carla DeVito, or she's your Ellen Foley.
Yeah,
right? Right? Yeah. Jay Joyce is your Todd Rundgren, at least for those 3 songs, So anyway, I'm glad to hear you say that, Matt.
No, you're 100% right. And I don't know how, I don't know what people think of that. I don't really give a shit. But I just thought it was kind of it was the way that kind of worked out. I said that on the mic. It's just funny. I said Meatloaf. And I said, but if we're going to do it, we got to commit to it. There's no half Meatloaf. You're either doing it, there's no half loaf. It's Meatloaf. So I said, we're either gonna go to that moment. And we did. I mean, we kind of went that place. And it was fun for me to get into there's some vocals on here that are a little more in character, I guess, where I could commit to things. I don't know. I went a little break it kind of guy. There's some stuff on the outro that I'm doing some vocal things that are almost, I'm playing around a little bit. I'm having fun. I'm doing some things that are a little more in character than just me going out and trying to sing, my song. And I think that was kind of fun to play with a microphone that way.
That's interesting because I go back to the Chief record, one of the very first times you and I had spoke. And I remember we talked about the hat and the glasses and how it was like you channeling your Alice Cooper, right? Instead of the mascara, you had the hat and the glasses. And so you, even now, this far into your career, you still have that sense of, that there's a character that you can pull out when you need it or play, or multiple characters, right?
There's a way that you just don't have to just go out and be so self-conscious that, well, I can't sing that because what if people hear it? And I think a lot of music is, try it and sing it and go falsetto. Mm-hmm. And I think I could play around more, with this album than other albums. I wasn't sitting up there thinking, well, this won't be, this is cool or this is not cool. But see, that's what makes it cool is when you're not sitting there going, I hope I can do this. And I'm not thinking about the prism of how people look at it. I'm just doing it. And I'm letting it, I mean, it was the most organic, real thing that you can do in music is to write a song the same day you record it. And overall, I mean, we had 2 or 3 songs that we cut that didn't make either any of the 3 projects, but overall we did pretty well, for doing what we tried to do.
Touring. You have talked about a return to touring. You've teased this. What do you have in mind? You've obviously been someone who's really kind of reimagined touring in the country landscape. The 3-hour shows, the intermission, no opening acts. Some of your peers, Miranda Lambert, Thomas Rhett, are doing some indoor gigs in Texas. Is that something you consider? What is your vision for how we all get back into shows, whether that's in a club, a field, or an arena?
Right. I think it starts with, let's be honest, I think it starts with vaccinations. That is critical. I've said to everybody, listen, I've been in every meeting, every phone call. I've looked at this every way you can look at this. And the easiest way, the fastest way for us to get back is not vaccines, it's vaccinations, it's needles in arms. And I'm a big proponent of that. Mm-hmm. I just think that that's the best way for me to then have a working knowledge of the environment that we're in, because the environment keeps changing. I do think we're winning. I think that, we're going to continue. There's going to be festivals that play this summer at capacity. It's going to happen.
In the United States?
Yes. Yes, they will happen. I think once the vaccine is fully available, I believe we're going to play in the fall. And the issue is going to be the municipalities and how do you do that? And I'm not sure that's a 50-state deal. That's the biggest challenge. And it's been the most challenging. For everybody, this has been the most challenging thing by a mile that I've ever seen, because you don't need a plan. You need a plan and 52 contingency plans, because it's a moving target. But I do believe we're going to be one of the first people that are going to do that in music. I think a lot of people kind of punted to 22, and 22 is going to be good. But I think we'll play in the fall. I think we'll play in arenas in the fall. I think we'll play at capacity in the fall. I think that a lot of that depends on vaccinations. A lot of that depends on if these numbers continue improving, but I anticipate that they will. I will encourage anyone who can to get the vaccine. It's common sense to me. It's not very hard. I'm not pro-vaccine. I'm not anti-vaccine. I read everything. I'm telling you, the fastest way for me to strap on a guitar and have people there that I can shake a hand with and jump in a pit with is a vaccination.
So we're kind of on the topic of some social things here, I guess. And so there's an issue that dominated country music this year, and that is social justice and racial reckoning. Yeah. Does it feel like country music, does it feel like the genre is at an inflection point, a turning point?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and I think that's great. I think that, something that surprised me even before a lot of the social and racial stuff in country music was the female challenge that we've had. I'm a white, male country artist, and I don't know that I totally realized how hard it's been. I think maybe you do, but I don't. I'm not a program director. I don't know. I'm not in those chairs that a lot of the females have to go through. So I think that was an eye-opening experience before we've dealt with the racial thing. Is just diversity in country music. Just the overall diversity. And here's what I've just historically. Diversity is always the best thing for the music. Always. No matter what genre you're in. That diversity usually leads to some breakthrough things. That's what you want. That's what you're trying to inspire. And I think it's great for country music. I do think we're at a pivotal moment. I think it's a moment that's been coming for a long time. And I think it's a healthy moment. My biggest thing would be to everyone is let's talk about it. Let's continue to have the dialogue. Talking is just fine. I feel like we're in the same place the country's in. I think that we represent what I believe as country music, we represent the United States of America in a lot of ways. And we're having a lot of the same conversations about the same stuff. The important thing is we continue to move the dialogue and we continue to have those conversations. And I can tell you that it was on my mind when I walked to the mic at the Super Bowl to sing with an African American R&B singer, what was going on in our format. It was on my mind. And the fact that it's on my mind means that we probably got a lot of things to address in our format.
Did it sting when you saw the Morgan Wallen tape, knowing that he cut a song that you wrote, quitting time?
Yeah, I think, Joe, the biggest thing it was a heartbreaking deal. It's just a heartbreaking. That's the best thing I can say. I mean, it was a heartbreaking deal for me, and I think Morgan's got to work on Morgan now. I don't know where that goes, but I think that's something I hope he does and anticipate he'll do. I don't, I think that as a format though, we just have to continue to strive to be better in that regard. And I think all that'll, honestly, I think it can end up being a really healthy thing for the format, that as we have these conversations going forward, it's a good thing for all of us.
You mentioned women in country music too. Have you been writing with women, female writers?
Well, Joanna, I work a lot with Joanna, so I'm going to make a Joanna Cotton record one day. It's going to blow people's mind, but I still, but yeah, I've written with a number of women over time, and I guess the challenge there is, I guess I just, maybe it's naivety, but I didn't realize that the from a chart standpoint or a program director standpoint or all that stuff, and this is over the last couple of years, I just didn't know that was there until all this stuff started rearing its head. So I think a lot of stuff that's healthy for country music is there's a lot of different ways now to be heard. Initially radio was your main megaphone. It's still a big megaphone, but it's not the only megaphone. And I think that's going to change some of these ways that whether it be diversity or just different music styles, that can come in and make leave an imprint on the format and move us forward. That's all it's been for me. I mean, you can probably tell. I mean, when "Stick That in Your Country Song" was the first single, I mean, come on. I knew that wasn't going to be a number one song. Okay. But I'm trying to move the format. I mean, that's the way I look at this. Is every project we have, I'm trying to move us in a direction. I'm trying to move the dialogue, trying to move the needle. And I feel like that we've always done that, in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, we've had number ones, and I kind of know when I've got too close to the flame and I got to back her up just a little bit. But I think that's part of, just trying to continue to within the parameters that I have country music to move the whole format forward.
In 2018, in the cover story on Rolling Stone, you said, quote, "We don't talk to each other enough. We dig in, we don't listen, and we don't talk." Do you feel that we've gotten better or worse at that?
Worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I think COVID's made it a lot worse, just because without concerts, without sporting events, everything has been about what divides us as a society. Which side are you on? This side or this side? And that's insane to me. It's asinine, because when I play a concert, those 20,000 people or 50,000 people, whatever they are, they don't have a side. They got their arm around the guy beside them and they're singing a song, or they're at a sporting event. They don't have a side. They're cheering for the team. When you go to Vegas, when you go to a barbecue, the side part, the tribalism, is the most dangerous thing. And because of COVID, there's not been these little things along the way that have brought us what unites us versus what divides us. And that's why, to me, music is critical. I know we're planning to go in 21. We may be one of the first act. We're aggressive. That's aggressive. I got to make it happen. And I feel like I got to make it happen, because I think it's that crucial to the overall sentiment of what society's going through right now, which is we need this. I need this, but fans need it too.
I'd agree with you. I think the isolation of COVID, and everyone has been finding an outlet via social media, which is, as we know, not the best
Dangerous.
Dangerous, not the best barometer of what reality is. So yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think we all need that human interaction. To go back to the Super Bowl for a second, was it as nerve-wracking as they say doing the national anthem? Yeah.
Yes, more,
Yeah.
because I mean, first of all, there are a couple of things going. So I'll tell you just a backstory, but it's a pretty good backstory. So I was already a little bit nervous, and because it's a big moment, and then you have, like, I've played shows, for big crowds and stuff. There wasn't that in a show. If you come out and you have some nerves, you got 4 or 5 songs and you kind of work them off, and you're in your groove. The anthem's different. The anthem, the day we rehearsed. So we got Saturday off, so we rehearsed on Friday on the field. And they had a video that they played, and I made the mistake of looking at the video, and it was like all these patriotic images and soldiers. And well, then the drum corps comes up, color guard, and they come up and they were, doing their deal. And one of the soldiers kind of gave me right before we started, it's rehearsal. And he gave me this. And dude, I almost couldn't sing. And I told Catherine after that, my wife, I said, listen, I can't, if you see me staring at my feet the night of the, Super Bowl, it's because I can't look at what's going on around me. I have to kind of get involved. So that night, we come in the Super Bowl night, we come in the tunnel early. They get you there like 2.5 hours before you got to sing. So you get down there. The color guard was there, and they were praying. And I came up, and the head person said, hey, they want to say hello. And I said, yeah, sure. And I walk up, and they finished their prayer, and one of the Marines, African-American Marine, and he turned around and he goes, first of all, I don't need any more, nerves. And he turns around, he said, permission to shake your hand, sir. I've not had a handshake since COVID started. Mm-hmm. And I went, granted, yes, sir. Like that. He took his white glove off. Now, keep in mind, we've been tested to death, so it's just not unsafe. Sure. He took his white glove off, and he shook my hand, and then they all did. So all 15 of them pulled off their glove, and I shook every hand. And then I walked to the mic, and that's when it realized to me that it's about more than just what this means to me or a career or whatever that shit is. Mm-hmm. It's about the country. It's about those people. It's about the format. Like, I felt like, I needed to represent the format in that moment. And it just added to all the energy and the emotion of it. I felt every ounce of that.
Yeah. Maybe halftime show next.
Yep, that'd be something.
Eric, you're going to be 44 in May, I believe, right? 44 in May?
It. Yeah, you got
it. And you had went through a dangerous blood clot in, I think, 2018 or right around that time.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now? And I mean that in terms of what's motivating you. I mean, as we see, hopefully, this light at the end of the tunnel.
Yep.
What's pushing you right now?
Getting back on stage and getting us back to normalcy. I may be dramatic in this, but as I look at everything around the country, I believe what I said at the CMA Awards speech. I believe music is going to be the thing that's going to save us all, because it always had. You go back to Roman times, and it was about the painters. It was about the writers. It was about the bohemians that had their finger on the pulse of what was going on. And I feel like that we're in unprecedented times. I mean, this has never happened. People talk about 1918, but what I always throw back at them is how many touring acts were national acts in 1918? Who tried to tour? There weren't arenas to tour. So this is an unprecedented. Nobody's ever tried to do what we're all trying to do to get everybody back in places. And it is complicated and it is hard, but I believe it's absolutely worth the effort. I had somebody ask me, why 2021? Why not just wait? I said, because I don't think we can wait. I think it's too important to wait. I think we got to try. We got to try to do this, and I believe we can. So that's where I'm holding out hope, and that's what I'm just trying to get the guitar on again and start to put back together all the pieces that are broken.